بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين سيدنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. Thank you very much, Professor Isa. And I'm delighted to moderate this panel on embedding mobility into institutional partnership, which the panel will focus on examples of joint programs, including the joint programs by definition is a program which is adopted by two or more universities and jointly planned and developed, including strong integration of both curricula and organization. And with regard to the curriculum, it is supposed to be jointly developed, taking care of professional profile to be created and the competence required for the degree. And with regard to integration, to focus on student admission procedures like application, admission, selection, and enrollment. And I would like our speakers to give examples of how problematic fields are tackled or solved, like accreditation of joint degrees at national levels, mobility problems like visas and residence permit and language, grading systems and financial management. These are just an example. So our first speaker, each speaker will be given a chance of 10 minutes to focus on, and then our first speaker is Professor Mary Bounds. Professor Mary is a senior vice principal and professor of developmental biology at the University of Edinburgh with a strategic responsibility for external engagement. Her responsibilities are wide, including postgraduate students and early career researchers, research training, widening participation, admission and recruitment of undergraduate students, community relations, scholarships, and bursaries. She is the head of the Institute of Cell and Molecular Biology at the University of Edinburgh and has taken research in the life sciences in Germany, California, Switzerland, China, and Australia. And 27 PhD students graduated under her supervision. You are welcome.
And thank you for inviting me to the meeting. I'm going to start by saying a little bit about the University of Edinburgh, which I represent, because it depends on your ethos as a university exactly who you might want to partner with and which partnerships are going to work. So we were founded in 1583, so we're a very old university, and we're a civic university. We were set up by the city. We have 6 campuses, but they're all around Edinburgh. We don't have international campuses in the same way that some universities have. We have about 8,000 staff, 30,000 undergraduate students, and about 7,000 postgraduate students. And I'm going to mostly focus on PhD collaborations, and so you need to know we have about 3,500 PhD students. And we're a big research-led university. So I think there are a few key things which are absolutely crucial if you're going to set up any kind of joint degree. The first is that the university has complete responsibility for the academic standards of all awards that are granted in its name, and that includes joint awards. So if you take up a joint degree, you're still responsible for all those students. They need pastoral care, they need academic support, and that must be in place at both organisations. And if you're going to have a joint degree, it needs to be synergistic. It needs to be more than just mobility, more than just a period of study abroad. And the mobility absolutely has got to enhance the student experience and their employability. and that should be true at all levels of joint degrees. So the key questions to ask when you set up a joint degree are, how is the academic quality going to be ensured? Are all the staff at both organisations qualified for the role? And how are you going to monitor that and ensure that all your staff are all on the same wavelength and all going in the same direction? And how are you going to ensure the quality of the learning opportunities and that it's for all students? And how are we going to make sure that the public information which is given out is accurate? These are just some of the questions you need to ask before you start. So at the University of Edinburgh we have joint degrees at all levels, and I'm just going to give you some examples. At undergraduate level, you can see the places we already partner with in China, mostly in China we've put up for the moment. We should say that all these degrees are what we would call 2+2 degrees. They do 2 years at their home institution and then 2 years at Edinburgh. So that's the model we have for most of our undergraduate partnerships. At the master's level, we have quite a lot of specialised masters that are joint degrees, again in a variety of different, with a different set of organisations and very discipline specific. So these will be very specific masters where you find the right partner for you. But what I want to focus on today are joint international PhDs. And there's two things really that I want to focus on here. One is that it really works if you belong to a club, if you like, of like-minded universities. So we have two clubs that we work closely with, one of which is Universitas 21, which is Europe, which is a group of international universities that want to have students with a global perspective and that are research intensive. And we also partner extensively with LERU, the League of European Research Universities, influencing policy in Europe, as well therefore as agreeing that we're similar universities to those in LERU, and we like to partner with them. And then we have some smaller individual agreements. So the case study that I want to bring to you is about jointly awarded PhDs. Now, first of all, what is the advantage of those? Why should we do them? So they strengthen postgraduate training and research capacity at both national and international levels. So if you're going to have a joint PhD, it should do this. And it helps to build academic cooperation and research between the partner universities. You have to be sure that for the students you're improving their generic skills and giving them a much broader research experience than they could get at Ivy University alone. And you have to, that makes your university a much more attractive place for the best minds in the world, which is what you want for a research degree. The kind of problems that we've come up against, we've been hearing about already at this meeting. First of all, you somehow have to meet the academic requirements of both universities, and they will be different. No university has exactly the same academic requirements and same methods for doing things. So the way that we've got around this is we say, we trust the other university. If we're going to go in partnership with you, we've decided we trust you and your processes and procedures, and therefore we agree that one or other of the universities will be a lead university for that particular PhD, and we will use their processes and procedures, and the other university goes along with that. And even if you say, well, actually we do it this way and we think it's better, you can discuss that, but you use the university that's the lead university's processes and procedures. And you have to have joint supervision, and those students have to know they'll be jointly supervised, and that joint supervision must happen all the time for the students, whether they're in whichever location they're in. And what we like to see at the end and insist on is a single degree that's awarded for one PhD piece of work. So that puts those two partners on the same page and says we're doing this together. So there are a lot of benefits of jointly awarded PhDs. The first we've heard a lot about already, which is international student mobility. They acquire a lot more research and transferable skills. They can often access different sources of financial support by going to a partner, to universities. And they get two different high-quality research environments, two cultures to engage with, two sets of resources, including two sets of brains and two sets of academic colleagues. So they really have a head start in their future career planning, their professional development, and their employment prospects. So I think for the students, this is really good. So why is it good for the institutions and for the regions? Well, I think what it does is it encourages those really high-flying researchers to come to your institution. The kind of people that are going to take a joint international PhD are not run-of-the-mill PhD students. They're students that have already decided they're going somewhere and they want to do this. So it enhances the kind of the type of students that you will get in your university as doing a PhD, and that brings up the level of all the other PhD students as well to be in amongst those students. It increases your international collaboration, and it increases the capacity to leverage research funding for both institutions. There's a huge added value in international networking, and it's very important for things like knowledge exchange, sharing research resources, sharing learning. And what it does is it starts to build up that recognition of qualifications in other countries. If a student at the end of their degree has a certificate which has got the University of Edinburgh in one corner and the University of Delhi in the other corner, and the student walks around with that for the rest of their lives, it starts to show in different cultures and different countries that these other countries are doing things which are equally valuable, and that enables much more mobility in the workplace as well as in the university environment. And it increases the attractiveness of institutions in general when people know that they're internationally engaged in these networks. So I think I want to spend just a few minutes on what we've found works and what the issues are. So so the key thing then is that this is the list of things that you absolutely have got to take into account. They're variable from one place to another. And the way we've found to manage this is we set up a high-level memorandum of understanding between either a set of universities or two universities. And we agree that we're going to do the joint PhDs according to a set of rules and regulations, like having a lead university, respecting each other's standards. And then we have a memorandum of agreement which is specific to each PhD student, which has got all the detail in it, how their visa's going to be sorted, who their supervisors are, what their examination process is going to be like, how long they'll spend at each institution, where the funding is coming from. And so we have a template now which puts all that in context, and so it's very easy to do. You just follow the procedures and then we know it will work. And the first groups of students are graduating from these programs. And so that's what I'd like to say. So the key things are find universities that you feel are equivalent to you, that it would benefit you to have better students, more research collaboration, and then have a very robust system for dealing with everything once you've set up the collaboration. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Mary. Our second speaker is Professor Jean-Marc Bonossi.
Right.
Yes. He joined the Faculty of Economics at the Sorbonne University in 1985. He got his PhD in 1988, and he's a professor of applied mathematics at Paris 1 since 1990, vice president in charge of international relations since 2012, associate chair of Paris Schools of Economics since 2010, and specialist of mathematical economics, optimization, non-linear analysis, and author and co-author for 42 papers in international peer-reviewed journals. You are welcome, Professor.
Thank you very much for this kind presentation. I would like first to thank the organizer, especially the Association of European University and the Association of Arab University, to invite me to present this joint program with the University of Cairo. I would like first to start with use the best regard of my president, Philippe Boutry, who will be pleased to be at my place now, but who has a lot of commitment in Paris and who cannot come to Amman. So, in accordance with the program, I will speak about a joint study program, which is in French, Institut de droit des affaires internationales, that I could translate in Institute of International Business Law, which is a joint venture, let's say, between my university, Panthéon-Sorbonne University, and the University of Cairo. Just to start with, let me read summary what is my university now. This is an old university in Paris, in the very center of Paris, and which is dedicated to humanities and social science, with a very strong law school, also an economic school, also Department of Arts, which is well known. So we have one of the largest French universities, let's say before the merging process, which is going on now in France. And this is really a research-oriented universities with more than 40 units, research units, all being associated to the French Center of Research. And we have a strong international network, as you can read. And we have also several, let's say, campuses in the heart of Paris, but also several study abroad programs, which are all located not in our campuses, but in campuses of partners in the world, like Buenos Aires, Cairo, or again some places in Bucharest and other places in the world. So I would like to focus my talk this morning about this Institute for International Management Law or International Economic Law, which is located in Cairo, in the University of Cairo. Actually, this program started in '88, but it is rooted in a long tradition of teaching French law in Egypt, which dates back to the 19th century. And maybe two things. We have more than 700 graduated students since '88, and we have today around 300 students for this academic year. So this is a 4-year, so a 4 plus 1 year, let's say, program, mainly 4 years, and we have what we call the 2nd year of the master, which is limited. And this is a double degree, so meaning that the students receive a degree from Paris University and a degree from Cairo, depending on the level, and you have here the description of the degrees that the students receive. So clearly the students are both students from the University of Paris and the University of Cairo, meaning that they have an student card and registration from both universities. So this is really a joint program with awarding of a double degree, because today it's very hard in terms of French and Egyptian regulation to deliver a joint degree, plus the fact that the bachelor in France is a 3-year program and in Egypt is a 4-year program. Okay. Now, I would like to emphasize about the reason of the success of this program. The first and most important thing, this is really a cooperative program with shared governance and the shared management. So this is really something which is rooted in a long tradition. So every year we have an improvement board with a meeting either in Cairo or in Paris, which gather professors and also alumni from both universities, and which really manage this program and takes the most important decision about how to evolve this program. We have 2 directors, a French director and an Egyptian one, who are working, who are both located in Cairo and who are working together every day. So their office is very close, and this is very important for the day-to-day management of the program. And then we have a share funding, meaning that we share the tuition fees and we decide together about the tuition fees, which is also a very important aspect of the program, meaning that the economic model is a shared economic model and both universities benefit from this program. And we have a French scientific coordinator to manage essentially, as I will explain in a minute, the missions of the French professor who are teaching in Cairo in this program. So really, this program is, as I say, a joint venture and not a program of Paris in Cairo. This is very important for us. Second, we have also so things which are clearly located in Cairo, so we want to be at the heart of the Arab world. But the French are really present because we have every year around 50 teaching missions with French teachers coming from, also this is an important issue, coming from various universities. So meaning that in France, this is not only the Sorbonne Law School which is involved in this program, but also several other universities in France who are interested. So this is in some sense a hub which gathers interesting. But this is important for mobility because when they are graduated, the students know a lot of professors coming from different universities, so they have the opportunity to apply either for a specialization at the second year of the master or for a PhD continuation in different universities. And so we have also in Cairo 2 teaching assistant to teaching fellows from Paris, meaning that they have a research contract from our university, but they are located in Cairo, and they are organizing exercise class and support and tutorial for the students. And the interesting point this year is that one of our teaching fellows is actually coming from this institute, so was graduated some years ago, then he came to Paris, now he's finishing his PhD, he's Franco-Egyptian, and he's back to Cairo to support this program, and this is really what we can say a success for this program, because now we are running with our own force in some sense, and with alumni from this institute. And finally, this is also important, we are of course in Arabic, so meaning that not everything is in French, but this is a joint program, and this is also important for the student to have this introduction to Egyptian and Arabic law, meaning that every year the students have to take 2 courses among the courses proposed by the University of Cairo. This is a key requirement to be graduated from Cairo University. So to stay in the topic of this morning session, I will speak a little bit about mobility. So first of all, this location, this special location in Cairo is very important because you have a majority of Egyptian students, but you have also a lot of students coming from different countries, mainly in Africa and in East Africa. And this is important for us because this is not countries with which we have a lot of academic relationship in France. So this location in Cairo is very convenient for them. And so we have now more than, let's say, 12 minus 1, 11 nationalities in this program, non-Egyptian nationalities students from this program. So all these students are regular students of my university, meaning that they are benefiting from the whole network we have. So they are eligible for Erasmus mobility in Europe or even mobility outside Europe. The only problem today is an economic problem because the mobility in Europe or outside Europe is still expensive for these students. But clearly these students have this possibility during their studies, their 4 years in Cairo, to come in Europe or to come abroad under the program we are managing in Paris. Furthermore, we are gathering a lot, and we are doing a lot to help most of them to come to Paris to conclude their, so to get a specialization as a second year of the master. We have a very strong cooperation also with Campus France and the French embassy to support them and to get some financial support for them. And also we prepare them to mobility in English countries, so this is easier in Egypt actually. So we have a part of the course taught in English and a special training also for English speaking. And finally, what is really important is that we offer a continuation at the PhD level. And as I said before, thanks to the fact that we have a professor coming from at least 10 different universities in France, so not every year, but so the students are in contact with a lot of professors and have the possibility to apply, and they are already known by these professors, so this is much easier to start a PhD in this different university with these different professors. So let me say that first, this 1 minute, perfect. This is my last slide. Growing partnership. So now, starting on this very good experience, we are opening since 2010 2 joint degree at the bachelor level, which is not so common, in economics and in political science with not the Faculty of Law, but the Faculty of Economics and Political Science of the University of Cairo, which is very close. This is a different thing because this is not organized, but I don't have time to explain how it works. And finally, we are now pushing a lot on research project, joint research project. So in few weeks, you have a big conference in Cairo, co-organized by the 2 departments, the Sorbonne Law School and the Department of Cairo. And we also work to have a joint accreditation to supervise and to launch a joint PhD in the future. This is not easy thanks to the regulation. So, just to conclude, thank you very much for your attention. You have my contact, and you can contact me if you want to have more information about this program or other program we have with Arab countries. Thank you very much.
She is the director of High Arab Institute for Translation, affiliated to the Arab League of States and based in Algiers. You are welcome.
My name is Inham Bayoud and not Bayoudi. Thank you. Good morning, everybody. I would like first to thank Mr. Abu Arabi for the invitation, and I'm very happy to be here. I've learned a lot, and I met very interesting people. Well, this was meant to be an opening speech, so many things have been said already, and we feel as if we are repeating ourselves. So sorry if you feel bored when I finish. So it is about internationalization in higher education, challenges and prospects. In order to learn, it is good to rub and polish our brain against that of others. That's this metaphor of Michel Montaigne, Essays in 1592, insinuates that mixing with others contributes to educating oneself. However, the internationalization of higher education goes beyond the contingencies linked to globalization. In fact, the logics of internationalization have favored the manifestation of a common space, allowing students to progress within a framework harmonized and structured on common basis, such as the European Programme of Erasmus, the Trans-European Mobility Programme for University Studies standards, or even the Fulbright US Student Programme. This new interest generated by the changes experienced at the higher education level has led to a reshuffle of the administrative structures of the institutions, namely universities and colleges. And new flowcharts have integrated a management that reports to the rectorship with the aim of promoting mobility and encouraging partnership at either regional or international level. This just shows the importance of this strategic sector's international outlook. The OECD report of 2003 specified that around the world, higher education is under pressure to change. It's growing fast and its contribution to economic success is seen as vital. The universities of other institutions are expected to create knowledge, to improve equity, and to respond to students' needs, and to do so more efficiently. They are increasingly competing for students, research funds, and academic staff, both with the private sector and internationally. The Arab countries are by and large lagging behind in respect of openness to themselves first, and to the world, and to competitiveness. We ought not content ourselves with being passive, but rather anticipate the changes that revolutionize the world of knowledge. Indeed, anticipating the unsound changes affecting higher education and training institutions constitutes a challenge for the Arab world today. If the new structure of the LMD has been imposed upon us by international situation, we ought to seize this opportunity to assess our shortcomings and to reconsider higher education and scientific research in the light of the current concerns and the changes occurring in the world of innovation. Recently introduced in Algeria, the LMD has the mobility of students and teachers as its main objective, as well as the establishment of gateways involved in developing professionalization and integrating multidisciplinary approaches. It is therefore imperative for the Arab universities in particular to do away with the constraints that cut them off the outside world by establishing a common framework for training and research curricula, which would homogenize education in the Arab world. This common framework will establish training standards, which will partake in invigorating cooperation through exchange programs, which in turn will ease the mobility of the students throughout the Arab world and elsewhere. This Arab standard for higher education will encourage partner states to develop a network of inter-university cooperation through training agreements. It will also allow for a clearer visualization of the various courses offered by the various institutions of higher education. The Arab state can no longer afford to remain curled up or isolated on a glorious scientific past and a mystified identity. Science and technology wait for no one. It is in this context that the leading superpower, the USA, has embraced knowledge economy as the weapon of the 21st century. Besides, it would be necessary for a productive reflection to enable a coherent common policy in terms of openness to the world between and by the Arab countries, thus allowing them to partake in the positioning of Arab institutions in the international rankings and also to boost scientific research. Also, one of the vectors of this openness to the world remains the mobility of the students as well as the teaching board of bodies, which is expected to manage and promote the structures in charge of this task. We thought of a pan-Arab agency that may be called Ibn Battuta, for instance, with affiliated namely to the International Relations Directors, with the following tasks, for instance: ensure the implementation of the incentives of partnership with foreign agencies, contribute to the proper functioning of inter-university exchanges, organize the welcoming of students, teachers, and mobility staff, ensure the administrative and financial tracking of programs and agreements, manage the bilateral and multilateral agreements in the field of international thematic networks, implement the co-tutelle and co-graduation programs. Hence, the openness to the world included by the upheaval higher education and scientific research faced in the last decades will provide an effective mobility, which in turn will promote the self-reliance and the development of the students, especially by expanding their scientific curiosity and critical minds. It will also ensure the transfer of knowledge and will favor the poles of excellence. This can only be achieved through a common policy between Arab states, based on trust, collaboration, and mutual assistance, and through coherent and scrupulous policies, mindful of the modernizing of their educational system and the momentum of scientific research. To achieve this, an Arab institution for the promotion of higher education, to which an Arab accreditation and certification agency would be affiliated, should be established. Its main task will be as follows: exalting a fresh university cooperation policy with the priority objective of generating modernized and innovative training with the aim of facilitating mobility and professional placement, promoting and developing exchanges between member states regionally and internationally, establishing an effective and permanent scientific, administrative, and academic cooperation, gathering and disseminating all the relevant academic or research documents by publishing the best research works, and coordinating the systems of higher education and research in order to harmonize the programs and the recruitment levels of the various institutions of the member states, evaluating and accrediting regularly the training canvases of all the combined fields. It remains, of course, that all these aspirations can only be fulfilled through the strong will and determination of the Arab countries to meet the challenges of globalization and competitiveness. Thank you very much.
Our fourth speaker, is Professor Gianni Baghi. Professor Gianni is a professor of development economics, University of Pavia. He got his PhD in economics in 1981 at the University of Cambridge. He got a vast teaching experience, teaching in the University of Padua, Italy, Cambridge, visiting a scholar at St. John's College, and teaching modules in development economics at the universities of Palestine, Columbia, Kenyatta University, and Middle West University. Professor Baghi is the general coordinator of the project of creation for the Center for Advanced Studies and Research in Cooperation and Development in Beit Lahim University. He got two actually multi-joint programs involving more than 20 universities between Arab and European universities. You are welcome, Prof.
President Batas, Rector Hassan, all colleagues and friends, first of all, let me bring you the regards of my rector, Professor Fabio Rugge, He would have very much liked to be here with us, but during these very same days there is a meeting of the Coimbra group of universities in Groningen, the Netherlands, and he had to attend that meeting. But he knows and he appreciates about his initiatives, and so please, you will welcome also to be with us. A short presentation to tell you a bit about Pavia University, which is a very small city south of Milan with an old university. You have seen that we have a river and it's a cozy atmosphere, and our international strategy from the very beginning was that of opening up also to the so-called developing country. In 1984, we have established a Center for International Cooperation with Developing Countries. Professor Giambattista Parigi is now the chair of that center. He is with us. By the way, he is a pediatrician as well, so you can talk to him. And of course, we have a lot of programs which are taught in English. We have joint programs, joint degrees, double degrees. But really, I would like to focus here on the programs that we have and we have had and we still have with universities in the Arab world, and what we are learning now by managing some of these programs, particularly programs which imply either mobility or really collaboration to have a double degree or joint degree. You will see here in red the programs I will be talking about. This is just a list of initiatives that we have had with universities and countries in the Middle East. Some more. For some reason, since the mid-90s, our International Cooperation Center and university, we really tried to develop a lot of this collaboration. And here I would like to mention, in particular, one program, the program of exchange mobility with Iraq, which has been going on from 1999 up to 2009 for 10 years, including the years of the war. And that was very complicated. My friend, colleague, Professor Parigi, was in charge of this program. But let us focus on three programs which we are running at the moment. We are coordinating with other universities, and which probably require some reflection, some experience we are getting from this program. This Dunya Beam program is an Erasmus Mundus standard program with 11 universities in the Middle East, from Palestine, Lebanon, Jordan, and Syria, and 9 universities in Europe, including Bologna University. So it's a mobility program. And we know that Erasmus Mundus is now being superseded by Erasmus+. I would only draw two considerations from this program. First of all, there is an interest by European students to visit this area, this university in the area, that's for sure. I mean, we didn't have the problem in finding people who would have been interested in spending a period of time either in Lebanon or Jordan or Palestine. Syria, of course, was not possible. The second consideration is it's a pity, I think, that in Erasmus+, degree-seeking opportunities are no longer there, because in terms of the interest by and of the applicants, we saw that in this program at least 70 out of the more than 200 mobilities are for these degree-seeking possibilities. So I think this is a bit a pity. And the final consideration, which I'll come back in my final slide, is in this program, you have a minimum requirement of 30% of mobilities for undergraduates. As my colleague said before, I think really we should aim much more at master and PhD program, and to have schemes which provide for long time collaboration. A second program that we still manage is dedicated to Palestinian universities in particular. It's a program which is financed, funded by the Italian Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Why I mention this program? Because it's a system-to-system program. It's 10 universities in Palestine, which makes more or less the whole of the academic system there, and 10 universities in Europe collaborating at different levels. In particular, collaborating for preparing people with PhD. PhD scholarships are provided at Italian universities, but the selection committee of these students, the whole organization of the program is being shared between the Palestinian and the Italian colleagues. In Italy here too we have the University of Rome, the University of Bologna, which are very well represented here. And why the idea? The idea was really to try to come and help some Palestinian universities with the entire PhD programs themselves to get training for people who then becoming teachers there. So it's really a system-to-system activity. On top of the PhD studies, there was also an intensive program of 300 frontal hours, 4 months, spent in Pavia for 20 Palestinian students. And the idea here was very simple. Even though you know the West Bank, Palestine is quite small, it's not so easy for the young people, the students there, to meet and to stay together. So we wanted to bring all these students to Pavia from all over the West Bank. And here I'm going to tell you a nice story, because in fact from the very beginning we couldn't include Gaza universities in the program, because the program was designed in 2009. 2009 was a very complicated period for Gaza. So when we decided, okay, here there are 20 possibilities, 20 scholarships to spend 4 months in Italy, in Pavia, where teaching was provided by all Italian universities, not just by us, including the colleagues from Rome and Bologna and Palermo. Well, the universities from the West Bank, they said, okay, but here we don't have the universities from Gaza, so what are we going to do? And the universities, they decided to give up the opportunity of a scholarship, 1 scholarship for each of the 7 universities of the West Bank involved, in order to make room for 6 students from the Gaza Strip. So we had 6 students from Gaza and 14 students from the West Bank spending 4 months together. I'm telling you this story because it's a nice story, and sometimes we can say that, you know, even if each university has its own how to say, mandate and vision, but this type of collaboration. I tell you, when we as Italian colleagues, we received this request by the Palestinian West Bank University, we were almost moved in a sense. There is a problem, however. You have PhD studies abroad, then the problem was mentioned yesterday, are these people going to be back and teach? In this case, I don't know if we were right or wrong, in this case we had, they had a contract agreed, signed, we intervened, it was something which was being taken care of on the Palestinian side. We are now confident the program is going to end this December. We are now confident that all these 15 students will go back. By the way, we only had 14 scholarships available, but 2 universities decided that they liked the program, so they brought more funds for their own students there. We think they will go back, even many of these students will go back also for family reasons, family ties. Some of them, they came with the family to Italy. A couple of babies were born in Italy, in fact, which is happy. And we had a couple of bachelors, but now we know that they got a fiancé in Palestine, so we are confident that they will really go back, even if this is not going to be the solution of the problem of the brain drain in the future. No, but the real message that we got from this program was the idea that you can really work system to system. A more specific type of joint degree or double degree we have been working on, and we are working on, is with Bethlehem University, which is a small university in Bethlehem, in Palestine. We have a double degree basically in international cooperation and development. This was established thanks to a campus program, including University College Dublin and Radboud University in Nijmegen. And now it has been going on for 10 years with exchange of students, exchange of teachers. We are working for a joint, twin UNESCO chair. And I know that Palestinian colleagues from that university are trying to involve other universities from Palestine and from the region. Even if, of course, when you work in Palestine, mobility for people coming from the region is not easy. That we know it's a very big limitation. But the students from at least all over the West Bank, they joined this program. This program, we think, has been rather successful, and there's going to be a next step, because a similar program is opened in different places of the world, from Colombia to Kenya to Kathmandu. And we hope in the very, very near future to have the University of Bethlehem and other universities in the region want to join, to manage the exchange of students among all these programs. I would underline that here, I mean, we are already talking about mobility, but also about the possibility of people from different regions and students from different regions to get to know each other in a better way. Last thing. What did we learn? Okay, really I think particularly for Arab-EU academic cooperation, institutional capacity building is absolutely crucial. So each type of mobility should be in one way or design within this framework. I am not completely sure the new Erasmus Plus fulfill this challenge completely. I mean, I would have emphasized much more the institutional and capacity building component than just the mobility, which means really what we said, going for joint organized programs and things like that. The credit system was not a problem between us and Bethlehem, or with the problem with the Palestinian universities in the West Bank. We have the European, the ECTS, the European Credit Transfer System. Many universities in the region, they use much more kind of American system, but really what I think as Association of Arab Universities you should do is to have a common credit system. This has been a very fascinating experience for us in Europe, I think. I remember that really lady from the European Union, she told us yesterday, as a matter of fact, more than 3 million European students have been going around Europe with the Erasmus program. A common credit system is not so complicated from what I've seen in the region to be achieved. The work is needed, but probably that's for you to decide, time to face it. And in a sense, the lady also yesterday, she told us that you already have a beautiful name, which was mentioned also this morning, if you want to dedicate this program, because Il Battuta obviously could be a clear indication. Finally, for European Arab University collaboration, of course, as Jean-Marc said in the case of Paris and Cairo, long-term type of collaboration. Don't go there for a European program which is going to last for years and that's it. That's an occasion, but it cannot be the structure, the end of the story. So probably we have to think in terms of timing of the programs. For 3-4 years is very, very little. Okay, you will find another one after that, but you know, the structure is different. I would insist in postgraduate programs, PhD and joint research in the future. So we have to think about how to structure according to the different situation, and we cannot invent many different things. This type of more structured type of program, particularly postgraduate and PhD studies. And let me conclude that we have been mentioning the issue of knowledge and the value of knowledge in many ways, in many presentations. Let me conclude that there is knowledge with the capital letters and there is knowledge with the small letters, which is knowledge when people get to know each other in an organized way. And that's what we can do, and we have the possibility to do. And if you have the possibility, and you don't know that, that is not nice. So it's better to take the possibility.
Thank you very much, Professor Baghi. Now we open the floor for discussion. Fortunately, we are now having examples of single degree award. Professor Mary is now establishing a template for using this. We have got examples of double degrees from Professor Lynn Boyce, and then we have got vast programs from Professor Baghi, and Dr. Bayod also tell us outlines of internationalization. So I open the floor. Yes, please.
My question is for Professor J-Mark. You know, whenever we open or establish a new program, especially for the joint programs, the question or the issue of the job market and employment comes up. So you mentioned that you have like 700 graduates from this joint degree PhD program with the University of Cairo. What is the rate of employment of these students, or are they already employed? Because that's one of the issues that always comes when our universities open such programs. Thank you.
Yes. I suggest to respond. The speakers can respond at the end. Yes. More questions? Professor Mary, do you want to respond?
Okay, a very short answer. Okay, all of these students are bright students, so most of them are graduated, not PhD, but all of them find easily a job in Egypt or in their home countries. Few of them stay in France, very few. Most of them are back in their countries, but they have no problem to find in the, let's say, law legal system, either in the public system like judge and so on, or as lawyer. So about employment, this is a great success. We did a survey of alumni 2 years ago, and we received answers from around 1/3 of the alumni, and absolutely no problem for them to find position, once again, either in Egypt or in their own countries, or sometimes abroad, most of the time at the home country.
Yes, gentleman over there.
Describe the nation with a low level of material and well-being. But we are talking about brain share and about universities in the Arab world that can compete.